Sure.
Okay, so Kevin's not here. We have Matthew, Bill, Javier, and myself.
Yes, and I'll print out that tourism grant with the grant requirements.
So the 3 people I assume is quorum?
Really, yes, I guess so. The only other person who's been on, but hasn't been here for such a long time is Eddie. Hey, I don't know if he's still considered to be part of the committee or not.
Yes.
Especially with public services, maybe he doesn't.
So, but 3 out of 5 would be considered.
That's us making a point of, yep.
That is
Um,
correct.
I had, the discussion of this grant for the tourism $20,000 grant. Just to look at this budget. The final flood map.
That'd be good, yeah.
Website ideas that they needed. And then the other things we've been talking about is maintenance, but that's gonna be brought up in the council.
Yeah, but if there's anything, yeah.
So unless there's something else special, I would say that we defer to that. So
Can we see the journals and stuff that he's been keeping? Has that been analyzed? Are we, because he's keeping a journal and the whole point of it is,
I'm following up with town council about performance and about maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Bill can vouch for that.
Yeah, I saw some there, but.
Yeah.
But the inventory, I could see, I haven't, he said he hadn't done that yet, so we need.
Oh, he did.
Who did?
I misspoke. I asked him after I met with
It'd
you.
be good to see that then. So-
I'll share that with you guys now. Yeah.
because I know that in the activities that we laid out previously.
Yeah.
So, okay, why don't we then start with the grant just for it, and then I guess the question really was, we had a $20,000 grant for tourism, what would be ideas that would be helpful? And this would be a one-time grant that they had some requirements, but it could not be for any permanent structure.
Yeah.
And it has to be something that would be done within the year. So that was the base.
It has to be related to tourists.
Tourism grant.
For burning the lead.
Yeah. So I guess the idea was to come up with ideas that it might be useful for.
Yeah. And that's sort of the park then, right? So, we may have some ideas too. Yeah,
well, I got a couple of questions. So is it 20,000 or is it 10 with a 10 match? What's the exact?
20,000.
and can it be broken up to different projects or just all one project?
Started to speak about them. I was trying to find one project. I suggest probably tomorrow, kind of just gauging. My gut feeling is probably won't be an issue. I think we just have to be hitting what's important to them as much as us.
And then if this has been in the works for a while, what was the plans?
So before, did you read the staff report?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so they came up to me over the fall. Said that previous town administrator was working on this, so I had to play some catch up, and then I did the all hands that reported out to town council. Apparently they were discussing first that kayak push off.
Right, which,
Yeah. And then which makes sense, really doesn't make sense.
Right.
So then I shared it with, we did the all hands. And then shared it with plans, Parks and Rec and Town Council, that this is something that's on the table. And then between that, it came now into government services, so.
okay, so I'm saying what initiated was just the kayak.
Yeah.
And
that was
so
the plan.
now we've been awarded it, but the kayak thing is
Yeah.
not feasible, so.
That was plan A, and then I wanted to make sure that we had a good plan B for them.
That kayak would not be feasible because it was a permanent structure.
No, because a kayak push off it's kind of like the floating dock, that would be gone the first hurricane we have.
Or rain.
Yeah.
Really?
Then I invited DWR, because it's DWR land, and the fire department. And they were concerned about it being close to the boat landing, and then WR has their requirements with fishermen.
But
Well,
also I think that, I don't know, it's relevant, but that's really not town. It's kind of like state, right? So
Yeah,
maybe we should just focus on the town.
that's why I suggested Van Cleef.
Yeah, I really think Canal Basin Spur, I mean, if we broke it up, they could use some of Canal Basin Spur, they really need something. And the other thing I'd like to see is, I don't know if we have money, maps. We have terrible maps in the town, you know, the major maps. So those are some items we could, and that wouldn't be 20,000, that would be a part of it. So, anyway.
Yeah, and I've shared that with Chris and also with you, I've talked about it. He's much more interested in accessibility in Van Cleef than maps, but I did
Yeah, sure.
stress that that was an important priority for the town.
well, also too, with maps, it allows safe access. Right,
And
so,
and it is tourism.
right,
Yeah, let me grab the printout.
I wonder if, we could even do the boat landing for 20,000, it seemed like that costs a lot of money.
well, the boat landing's out anyway,
It's what,
it's out.
no, I
anyway.
mean, the floating dock.
What do you mean?
I mean, I think that was what they guys come out to look at, the floating dock at the Van Cleef.
Right, but as we spoke about with the Parks and Rec, the floating dock was not installed properly.
I know.
So we need to get back to the vendor and get them to install it properly.
So if you wanted to use it for like a road to get to the floating dock, rather than trying to take it down. Maybe forward in there.
I don't know. That's something he'd be looking at, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the trouble with road would be something like
Say it again, Stats, I didn't quite follow you.
It says the grant applied temporary structures, meaning they're going to use it for capital projects.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So, something like, you know, road to Van Cleef would be, considered capital project. You know, floating, I was thinking of floating dock in Van Cleef would be considered a capital project.
It's weird because, for example, that floating dock and the gangway is not considered capital for them. That's considered a temporary project. But for example, like we talked with DWR about like, what if we extended the boat landing? Just to make it easier, like if you have two, and they're like, no, because that's concrete and that doesn't feel permanent, but it's permanent for them.
What's a floating dock in Van Cleef?
No. So for example, if we didn't get that floating dock last year, that would have been an option. So for example,
Yeah, the dock.
Well, and the dock cost 50 grand, so when they covered it anyway.
yeah, but I'm giving you an example of
Right.
what they don't consider capital. You know what I mean? I would consider that floating dock capital
I
in my
would,
book.
yeah.
Yeah. But for example, the kayak push off was kind of like the same as that floating dock. It wasn't something concrete set in like the boat landing over at DWR.
Right,
So it's wonky if you can tell.
yeah, well, and also too, down there, you've got the I'm gonna misquote it and you can probably get it better. The rule about everything has to be secured,
No,
so,
You're right, yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, you wouldn't be able to install it there anyway, because there's a federal law saying you can't do that.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
it
know.
seemed like it was an oversight from the previous person, so when I had the all hands meeting, I was relieved that it cleared it up.
Right.
But it kind of disheartened them because they had their heart on that, I guess I would put it. So my recommendation was, there's probably a lot more options we can do in town. To keep it local. It's a grant. It's 20,000.
One of the things that I was wondering about, is we had something like the, Echo Festival.
Mhm.
But that, to me, there must be a way to get that more, build that up. It seems like it's here, but it's not really much of a
Yeah.
event.
keeps raining on it.
So I was wondering, you know, thanks, the Christmas was, I don't know how many people were out there tree lighting, but the market was pretty busy, but when I went over to the, later to where the cars were, there were very few people. It was kind of not
I don't think it was advertised.
every
I didn't even know.
So I'm just wondering if there's anything that we could do that would build up the events that we already have. From a marketing point of view, support for marketing for those type of things.
If we did something like that, Javier, would they need everything already preset, or would they be able to say, we're gonna take $10,000 and apply it towards events?
They would hand it over and then based off of the last grant, they'd want a deliverable. So for example, like page 4 has marketing expenses, talking to
Mhm.
stocks, and it'd be like, you know. Think about it, digital advertising, I would have an invoice or some kind of printout of, you know, it being on Facebook or Scottsville Monthly or whatever.
Posters.
Yeah, and then a poster's easy, whoever designed the poster, I got a deliverable.
I mean, I was thinking like banners across the street, marketing,
That's the easiest thing to do, yes.
yeah, I mean, marketing in some of Charlottesville, progress or. Yeah, some of the websites,
And then
Well, good.
I'll point out like,
radio marketing too, ads on radio, stuff like that. So I was thinking a marketing campaign to support daily it's the two things I was thinking of, things. The Christmas activities and the Bateau Festival. And just put it as something like that.
I can pass it along to Parks and Rec. One thing is like, so example, page 2, like I've been thinking too, eligible program expenses. Signage that's non-permanent or removable. I had an idea brainstorm was if you could have inserts that slide in quarterly on those kiosks. So something kind of like you see at parks where, I don't know, fall, it has information on, has a map and then some kind of evergreen information. Yeah, birds are back or something about foliage. I don't know when mushrooms come up or something like that. Beyond that.
Pollen there, sweet. So I was thinking marketing would be.
Oh yeah, like spring you could do pollinators or something like that.
Yeah, so if we had said that we want to use it for marketing for those events. That would be my suggestion.
And that's works for marketing too, just if it's a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Also for outdoor recreation development. I think to the kind of point of that detail, we were talking about like what's considered capital, trail connections and paths. And then even rental equipment to clear paths for gravel. So like putting down gravel or like leveling off trails does count. Now that gets pricey because it's rental, but it's that. If you're developing a trail, I kind of think of it as capital, but it isn't really to that.
Because it's not paved.
Because it isn't concrete, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Like you said, I think that's the way I think of it. Also, it might be useful, Bill, if you're meeting with him tomorrow to kind of pitch these ideas, because he's the one that I talk to, and then he picks it up and sees how willing they are with the grant.
Yeah, we'll pass along over to the parks, ready. And let's see if they have some other ones themselves.
I mean, because the Parks Committee, the number one priority has been maps and markers and everything else that are non-existent, so they're already moving forward on it. That's where the funding would come from, is a whole nother ball of wax, and this might be a good solution. I just don't believe $20,000 is what we would use to do that. I mean, maybe $3 or $5 grand or something like that, It wouldn't do the whole thing.
Banner of marketing.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying, but
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Put maps as a subset.
And do we have to have
Call it like multimedia.
does it have to
marketing,
spend?
and then multimedia marketing, which would be,
Yeah.
radio, computer, banner across the street, maps,
Posters.
posters,
Yeah,
all that type of stuff.
do everything.
well, even in our street, we don't. holiday festival, half the crossbars were empty because we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
You know.
So I guess that we could put it all together under one multimedia marketing campaign.
Yeah, that sounds good. Does it have to be spent, gonna be spent over a period of time? I mean, can we, have this a regular, have the money in the account and then it's marketing for next year and the year after, or whatever it's gotta be.
I'm gonna guess they want to suspend and then report back.
Oh,
before
okay,
that
so
ends.
it's just a one-time thing.
But I'll talk to
So it
them.
wouldn't be for the Baco Festival, year after next, it would just be this year Baco Festival.
That's why like stuff like mile markers. Trail access probably is better, cause that sticks around year over year. But.
Well, we don't really need that much at Fairfield, we get some better ones, but we got everything marked. Well, we do have some trails that we have marked better, but.
The difficulty is most of the trails are not on Van Cleef. That's the difficult part.
They're not.
Van Cleef is a very small part of what
Yeah.
people consider the trail system.
Yeah.
It ends pretty abruptly. That's the hard part.
I mean, yeah, you don't really know, Van Cleef, but you don't really don't need too many markers except the identification of the trail. You don't need to mark trails that are already clearly marked, clearly used. You're not supposed to, we use it for planting trees, we use more trees. I mean, that'd be nice. We did that years ago, right along the main creek there, blocking those houses there. And a lot of those died. When you go into the back creek area, there's that kiosk there, and then on the left side, there's the creek itself. They had a lot more trees and they didn't we did that with the Injury Association years ago.
I was gonna say, that's also a program that other foundations would fund.
Yeah.
So it's kind of silly to use this grant for it when you can get it from other organizations.
So similar suggestions in the multimedia campaign.
Yeah.
You said gravel,
That was Javier.
trail support, Van Cleef.
Yeah, I don't see where we would gravel anything except for the entranceway,
Yeah, there's no.
And I do have a question on that. The entranceway from Lit Hardware. Is that a right of way or do we own that? I think it's just a right of way. So then what is, yeah, because there's a private roadway and stuff.
Gravel there, yeah.
But I mean, it's not our road.
What I
Oh,
would
it's not?
suggest is right next to the boat,
Is that-
actually, leveling that out, not the boat,
Yeah.
sorry, the floating dock.
Yeah, that would be used, yeah, that would be good, yeah.
What are you talking about? Down by the river or down by the pond?
Yeah. And by the reservoir.
But there's no clear path to that anyone could use. And gravel would not be handicap accessible. So we're back to, we have a handicap dock that a handicapped person can't get to. We have to be sensitive to that.
Yeah, and that's why you would want to see if you could do some level work,
Yeah,
because you're allowed to rent that as an option, brainstorming with you guys. And then you can buy gravel, so you could rent out the equipment, try to level, and then increase some of the access and then do it piecemeal. So. for
But you can't
example-
pay a vendor to do that?
Yeah, that's what you would use.
Okay,
instead.
okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
asking.
No, I'm not out there.
that would.
Yeah, I'm not
that would
thinking.
be nice, from that trail there, down to the dock,
And then like the brief said, I'll do some legwork, but also getting any advice on. Feasibility of these ideas naturally, because I don't really want to. I want to fully use the grant, but nothing more than that, put it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we're not in a position to
I know,
overextend. No, I know, I'm
I
saying
know.
like, I don't think that's anyone's motive. Yeah.
so that's part of it, sharing with Parks and Rec too, to get
Yeah.
some advice on that.
But could we use some of the money to pay for the maps of the park?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, so that would be part of the marketing thing too, I guess. Yeah.
Correct. That's what Stocks keeps
And
putting
also
out.
putting out the rules, we're trying to get rules that, okay, so that makes the most sense for that.
but I suggest, since I haven't had this conversation, use the opportunity tomorrow
Yeah.
to start. Kind of suggesting that
Yeah.
if as a recommendation.
So
Then
those
it'll-
are- so we have two things that are reasonable to suggest.
Yeah, and then he's gonna attend the Parks and Rec meeting, so that's another opportunity
Yeah.
to kind of grow it out.
So,
And I'll talk to the guy about it too.
so we have. So at least
The red guy, but-
two different things to suggest to the park recreation committee.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
all right. Well, we got some ideas.
so next thing was the budget. Bill, suggested that we talk about the budget.
Well, it's good, we probably do need to start looking at that, before you want to be here, and, if there was one time, I sure thought we were gonna be short this year. Or next year, and we need to start looking at the, see if we can get other revenue, and one of them, the property tax, but I think it's hard to project what we're gonna be getting, because we got a lot of new things going on. And, with the car wash and with the, restaurant and, a few other things that are in town, there's some new, got a new daycare center and stuff, so I think we're gonna be full. And we're having these events, so I think we'll be fine with the budget, but, I just don't wanna be caught short like we did last year, with all of a sudden we're down, we had to cut a bunch of things.
So,
So we just gotta look at these issues, I mean, we don't have to do it today, but, the next few. When do you start looking at the, what?
It's gonna be next,
January?
yeah,
It's about January, so
because then I can do the 6 month mark,
6 months, yeah,
yeah,
and we can see where we're at.
and then I think that's usually when we started. I've only done a cycle with you guys, but I remember right when I was starting, you guys were piling to this.
because you have to have you usually try to get it right up in March,
Yeah,
because it has to be finalized
before the fiscal year.
by end of April or May.
Yeah, because you wanna
Should be.
shoot for that, because you don't wanna be like running towards that
Definitely
deadline.
has to be finalized by in June, because that's the start of the next fiscal year.
Yeah, and I think one year we did April, last year maybe May.
And, yeah,
Yeah. No, we did May, yeah, it was like May 15th last year.
Michael mentioned that Javier and I are gonna meet on Friday, and we're gonna start looking at long-term capital.
Oh, okay, good.
Improvements and
Yeah.
requirements based on, trying to update these software, the spreadsheet that I put together a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
And I had given it to, Matthew. I don't know if Matt, Wova said. He said he was gonna look at it. I never received any feedback from him, so I don't know. I have the last one I sent to him, but
You're talking about that, Lois?
yeah.
Okay.
Because you told,
if he's up, if there was any update to that,
because you told me last week he was gonna try to update it before we departed.
yeah,
And I can't find any copy other than the one we talked about over the phone, which was the 2022 version.
yeah.
So I shared that with you, right?
So basically, Javier and I will try to update it. We'll start Friday, and we may have to go back a little bit more. To get an idea, so that you will have that when you start talking about your budget in January. During town.
That's great, yeah.
And I think that'll help with the work you guys do. Did I share about, the version I sent you last year?
Yes, I saw that one about from Eileen.
No,
Sent me an email which Eileen had, I think it was Eileen, you had 4 or 5 different documents attached to it.
that's all that has been talked about in town council, but the CIP plan, did I send it to you?
No,
Once I found it, okay, then let me send it now.
as I said, I had the one that I had sent that Matthew, that Lois. I saw the one that we had town council, and it was the different options of constant increase in cost and revenue. And I need to know where those percentages came from or anything else. Um. So, I obviously, since just got this, haven't had any idea to look over. You know, any of these that are. That are way out.
I'm not sure how to read this, still how to read this very easily. Well, I guess
Um,
that, you look at the percentages, all right, to see how.
That's the easiest thing to look at, but a lot of these things, here, um. You look for the big things that are like the franchise
Yeah.
tax. That's a big income
Yeah,
for
that
us,
is a great.
but it comes in as one check in like March.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
or sometimes even later.
Is that the two banks? That's the two banks.
The two banks do it,
Wow.
and so
That's
that's a big income, but just because you have zero now, you can't do any projections, because you don't know what they're gonna throw at you. Licensing fees the same way. That's supposed to be, you know, it's every year you have to renew your licensing fees. I don't know about Scottsville, but Albemarle County, I got, they had to be renewed by January 1st. And so until you get towards the end of December, you never know what's gonna come in.
Yeah, ours is March 1st,
March 1st.
so our,
So again, you don't know what you're gonna get. So you hit the end of February or March, so that's very hard to say. And you know, some of these numbers may be out quite a bit, but they're small numbers. The other one looking down at is you would think that they would be like. So you would expect us to be about 40% of the year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the meals tax, that's a very big one, is okay.
That should go up this year, because we increased that percent.
Well, you can't say,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you'll get meals tax from Target whenever they open, but what they'll do to Subway, to Lucky's,
Yeah, right.
you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
So it may wash out, but just looking at big numbers, your cigarette tax is running ahead,
Yeah.
which is good. Not good for health.
I know.
Good for town. And the rest is so small, it doesn't really matter. You know, I just kind of look at big numbers.
Yeah.
So those are the big ones and it's really hard to say. You're.
They do things I wouldn't mind looking at the small ones, because they add up, you know, like the rent, you know, for the building below, or for the lodging tax, or, you know, if we raise some of it, even the policeman was saying, like, we raised the cost of a ticket is only $10. Most places have 20, you know, but that adds up, all these little things add up to them. They're getting more money to the town. But anyway,
Well,
vendors fees, you know,
fines, traffic fines,
yeah,
or, you know, you had nothing in the budget for that,
Right.
parking tickets had nothing. I guess e-summons, whatever that is. So your fines are a little bit higher, yeah, somehow fines total 10,000. 3,000, so just that.
Yeah,
So you're a little bit behind. Expenses. A lot of that is salary.
well, half of it is. That's pretty
So,
common.
it's very hard for any of those to go above or below. And then like you look, your payroll temp is way up, but your town clerk is way down. So that you know, the temp is partly paying for you not having clerk for a few months.
Right, yeah,
So,
you're right.
most of your salaries are just consistent across. Office supplies are up. It's $1,200.
We already talked about it.
What?
We already talked about it.
Almost like,
Yeah, less folders.
What was the office supplies?
Just literally folders, all the little stuff.
yeah.
I'm being glib, but we noticed.
We got a lot of paper,
Slow down.
it's like, we have so much paper that's weighted.
Yeah. The one that is. Really, looking at the numbers that I see, I don't see a lot that of concern right now. Seems like you mostly trying to track on time. EMV select is. I guess some extra.
Somebody come in the other day, I waited for a sign, because I saw somebody come in there the other day and I'm looking. It's like, it's been closed for 4 months. Oh,
Melanie,
Still online though.
is it, it's still
You
online?
can still arrange an appointment.
Here?
No, online,
I closed our appointment,
I know, but
TV.
there's two,
The DMV
there's
has it?
There's two DMV websites. One is the official, which is not the first one that pops up. The other is actually an outside vendor. And we're still on there. That's why, like, even though the official one, which is the second or third one, would say we're no longer, we're by walk-in, no appointments. Doesn't matter. The first one that pops up is an independent vendor and they do appointments.
Yeah.
So I've seen people just recently and they'll come in, they go, I got an appointment. I'm like,
You know what?
it's the wrong website.
You gotta sign up, you might have on that sign a little bit underneath. DMV available in Palmyra and address in Charlottesville, so they know. Just, they see no DMV, but a lot of them don't know where to go unless it's.
Oh, the signs state that.
Does it say it out there? I thought it just said no DMV, but does it say where to go?
It sends you to the other two ones.
Oh, yes, okay, good.
I reported it to Google because it also shows up still on Google, but I haven't. And then after we talked about it over the summer, I called out to DMV again and they said, oh, it's off our website. So I'm kind of hitting.
Oh, I get it. That's what I'm saying. It's that other website that was the problem. It's always been the problem.
Marketing website.
It's a little bit frustrating, I'll say.
Yeah, it's a third vendor. And it's just a way to gather information, sell you tires.
Yeah.
But what's it? Billy used to get about 5, 6 a day.
Yeah,
So the signs helped a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, it's habit, I guess.
So Scotts has pretty good perspective on how you can go through it. Just looking at the percentages and then based off of that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I generally do is look at percentages to see things that are way off and then if.
You mean over 40%, or over 100%, whatever, I'm 400.
And then when you see that, just see what it is. One area that is a big jump to me is you're just looking through these numbers. The ones that you could do something about is you have some significant vehicle maintenance cost.
Yeah.
Right, I think generally it looks like you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So far.
I think so. Oh, well, no, the tree thing, are we gonna get another tree down below? One tree missing? Are they something like?
Oh, yeah, so, James is drafting a proposal that includes trying to put in a tree.
Yeah.
Down there,
Okay, good.
talked to him yesterday about it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, what?
Right below, there's a tree missing down it.
We have a tree pit across the road.
Oh,
or across the
Right,
building.
right at the dollar store over, yeah, municipal zone.
Yeah,
And that's-
just has a square there.
Yeah, one of those little places.
So, I guess the only thing is I say basically it didn't look like there's any significant outliers. Be a good concern.
Yeah, just a
Quick look. You were gonna look to see if the flood map.
Yes. I have not had time since Friday to talk about it. Let me keep reaching out once things slow down and then, today, I guess. And then I'll report back to you guys. Sorry about that.
You have to get the FEMA for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could come out here and actually present that too, or something, so everybody knows.
yeah, let me ask. I gotta reach out to them.
I mean,
I understand somebody said that we just need the final sign off and whatever it was, I understood.
for the people.
Yeah. Like they had redone it, but they were waiting for some final whatever it was. The website,
Well, maybe get money in the budget for that for next year, to fix that up and that,
Website would be tourism.
we could use that with the grant.
Tourism, that's the whole point of the website. It's supposed to be pushing the town.
That'd be great.
no, I looked at the website,
Yeah, did you?
it looked pretty good to me, there's things that don't work.
Yeah,
And so things that need more, being updated. My big thing I didn't see was there's no maps on the website.
I agree with that.
I found the search function to be inadequate.
Yeah,
I was looking for, when I was looking at documents, it was the documents, they're not in any good order. So I put 2022, 2023 budget. Found, or budget for 2022, 2023, and if it's not the exact name as the document. Then it
Oh.
doesn't come
oh,
up,
is that right? Yeah, I've tried to do some search, I just gave up.
and, I eventually found that the 2022, 2023 budget is there. But it didn't come up when I tried to search.
Yeah.
So I think that, and I don't know how you fix a search function. But you know, you think that if it said budget and it had dates,
Yeah.
budget 2022, would have had any budget, any title that has budget in 2022 to come up.
Yeah.
So
You would think, yep.
I agree, but I mean, that's definitely something.
But that's something way above anything you have to do.
Yeah, same here. Probably, so I need to get the company to.
Yeah,
Company needs. to
so
do
for
that.
example, it took me a while, apparently you can't change that front image. Without having them influence it, so I figured out how to do the ticket process. So maybe I do that and ask, hey, how do you improve
Yeah.
searchability?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know now, but
Yeah,
I can learn.
I also like, it seems like I can't find all the minutes either, they only go so far. I don't know how far they go back, but it's like they go back about a year.
I'm worried it's something with the migration.
Yeah.
So I'll ask about that.
Yeah, ask about that, so. That was
So they were supposed to train.
2 years ago, and I couldn't get anything on the minutes there. I get comments. You know,
But the searchability was supposed to be also internal of the documents, not to try to just find a document. An example we keep bringing up is sidewalks, and you should be able to pull them up. Do they have to have a finding aid to do that? We don't know any of this stuff because Eileen was the only one dealing directly with them. Is that the problem? That we need to create a finding aid to be able to do it searchable? Because that was one of the big things that we pushed
Yeah.
when that's how they got
Yeah, that was the short thing.
that's how we selected them in the first place.
Yeah, I had no idea that that means every document needs to have keywords.
That's what I mean, that's finding aid, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that has to be a question to ask the
So
vendor.
I don't,
I think we could meet with them later on.
I don't know, I mean, at one time, that was the key way you searched. And some of them now search for all the words of the document.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just don't know how they're doing their search, who's there. I'm sure they didn't write the search algorithm, they probably. You know, it's a big company, probably purchased it or somebody else, I just don't really do that.
I understand that, but obviously it's not, either it's not working or it's not there. And that is what we paid for, so someone needs to talk to someone
So
about that.
I find those are the two big things that I noticed looking at the map.
Right, right.
I mean, yeah, but that's sunny.
Well, the other thing is I still would like to have some sort of how to Zoom.
There was some how to,
Maybe if you figure out how you do that, where that's how to do this.
I updated the new committees out there,
Oh, you did?
so I can start trying to
Okay,
go at that.
because if you know how to do it, it's not that bad, but I think there's a lot of people who don't know that. You gotta go to the agenda and then go to this, and it just has to be instruction how to do that.
So it's accessible.
But I've gone through a few things and got rid of some of the stuff that's no longer working, you know. We could probably still get rid of a lot of the things that are no longer, like some of the old, I got rid of some of the old, like Barefoot Country Stores was there, I got rid of that. You know, some of the, it's hard for anybody to do that, but there are some outdated.
Yeah.
And actually, there's some new ones, you know, I didn't know how to do it, but I think Rite Aid should be there, and I'm not sure if it was there when I looked at the businesses and stuff like that, for sure.
the businesses. I looked at that. And the problem was it goes to the Chamber of Commerce website.
Oh, it does? No, I think we got our own.
No,
Or two.
when I looked at businesses, it seemed to link into the Chamber of Commerce website. And most businesses are members of the chamber. So people that are not members of the chamber
Oh, yeah,
aren't coming up.
okay. So it's proprietary in a way.
No, it's just a bad link.
Yeah,
If it's not serving its purpose.
yeah,
The-
I mean, they should have both, they should have all of this, and then they should have. At least ones aren't there.
At least that's what it seemed to me when.
Probably this.
Yeah.
And then that's only gonna have who's on chamber. Who's in the chamber. And then I think Bill's probably looking at this maybe. Maybe you're writing this or what?
So I went, as I said, I went to the first one that said, we had their businesses. Businesses, and then business directory.
That's what I.
And then, why don't you just put in pharmacy and see what happens?
Well, it says it right there, it's member directory, so,
Yeah.
which is deceiving too, it doesn't say it's the chamber member.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
We can delete that.
Well, it's not our website,
Oh, I see.
that's the chamber's. website.
Oh, that's that's what I said, I went to the chamber website.
But Matt is right, it's because they are members, I'm assuming, yeah.
So I don't know what we can do about that.
But that's what I'm saying, it's a bad link, so if you want to say it's a link to the chamber's website, go right ahead, but it's not a link to the director of businesses in our town.
No.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, some-
I mean, the reality is you really need someone who wants to take on.
Yeah.
The website.
Yeah, I mean, like, for the,
But I mean, in the past, Eileen took it on and now she's dropped it. And either committee, someone in our committee needs to take it on, or we need to set up a website committee. Because it's gonna take a long time to get that all cleaned up, and it's not.
Maybe,
I don't know, I mean, some of these things like businesses. If you have a list of business licenses in town. And you need a link to, it's a list of business licenses. That's the up-to-date business list. In town. Though somebody needs to be doing all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Either someone has to start a website committee, or someone has to take it on, or the town needs to take it on. But I'm saying it's not done. It's not close to being done. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And it gets frustrating with it, but one way or the other, the whole purpose of it was for it to show the town off, and we're not doing that.
To do it.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying, but
maybe, hire somebody. Can't get somebody from the company.
here we go.
Then,
Good luck with that.
I know. Find a volunteer, maybe put out something for a volunteer on the website. To help with that. Maybe there's somebody we could hook up with the chain, they could help us some, they probably do that.
They'll tell you to hire the guy they hired. Right? I mean, that's the reality.
I don't think people really need, you don't want to do businesses to change.
Right.
If you miss all the businesses they are.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The link should be clearly saying this is the chamber
So there should be a
members.
list of
It's
the
not a list of
chamber,
the favorite
and then for
businesses.
business, they should be linked to what have heirs. I don't know where he has a list of business licenses.
Understood. We will all agree that.
Yeah.
I mean, because that link is just a link to their website. It should be clear that that's a link to a website. It's not all our businesses.
I'd be willing to help, but I'm not technically. Never worked on a website.
Well, I get it. I think our issue is that everything was done through one of our members,
Yeah,
and we didn't know about any of that stuff. And now that that member is no longer doing it, that access has died, so to speak. So either we need to have someone who's willing to take it on to reach out to the web people and find out, maybe it's possible they said we don't do that anymore, or we never meant to do that, or whatever. We don't know. All that communication isn't out there for us. So it's almost like we got to start it all over again.
Yeah.
But someone needs to be a point to talk to them and say, this isn't working, that's not working.
Yeah.
And if they go, well, that's what you get, then we maybe made a mistake, but. Someone needs to be commuting directly with them, asking Javier to try to figure it out isn't the same of. Well, they go, well, you didn't do a finding aid. Well, we didn't know we had to do a finding aid. Well, we told you, we don't know the conversations. So someone needs to be in direct contact with them to be able to get it straightened out.
that was. Javier, do you have the person, the contact person?
Yeah.
You meet on Friday, you can give me that information, I'd be willing to start looking at it.
That would be good.
Thanks, Lance.
Just come up with some ideas and ask
Yeah.
questions.
Just start looking at it and see what.
Does that work? Well, here, one second, it's cutting itself off.
I don't.
Maybe check at home if I did. Let's just say. Scottsville Chamber of Commerce Director.
I'll start going through a little bit more. I haven't made it on too much.
But again, we may be missing a piece and not know it because none of us have been in contact, And I think it's more to just get clarity of what they can and can't do.
With the DMV off the wall.
Yeah, but I like the whole.
Community code,
Culture then. It's nice.
I don't know what.
It'd be nice.
I don't, Javier can tell you. But he's gonna give you that contact on Friday, so,
All in that.
Yeah. and then we find out who the contact is and then, open the conversation again. That's all.
That's exactly. Maybe you can hire Jack.
We may have bought the C level and you have to pay more for the B level or something. We just don't know.
I'll share it with you.
Okay. Then the last thing I had on the list was maintenance.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna be talking about that, but if there's any, I wanted Kevin, as he was really know what that, it sounds like there's some things happening, but people out there.
Right, just wondering is if we need to wait until the year, the council.
Yeah, right.
Makes it just
Right, or at least we have some sort of,
what the council decision.
more, more detailed, discussion, I guess. Right, it was just preliminary kind of stuff, but we've already done it for a long time.
I don't want to go into that, but
Yeah.
just. I think we really need to wait until the council's made some decisions.
Yeah.
Anything else?
But you had that suggestion about
But they already sent that about-
resignation. You sent that out, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So maybe that can be on the agenda for workshop. Because again, council makes that decision.
Yeah.
Just have the discussion there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, Stouts, or no?
There's 3 openings in. Planning Commission, ARB. And trying to get a way to make sure they resign. And then how are they, and there's a form now with their applications for. Being on ARB or the Planning Commission.
The planning commission has to be a member of Live Town.
That's correct.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
It was more of what happened last time was Shannon resigned and then like 4 or 5 weeks later, she changed her mind and just walked back into the meeting. And so the argument was somehow that was okay because we don't have procedures on how it was accepted by council or not. So we really need to get procedures because right now we have 3 empty spots, should have been filled within the first month. They haven't been.
Yeah, that's.
And then unfortunately, the council hasn't accepted any of their resignations yet they want to appoint people in the spot. So very contradictory of what
Yes.
happened last time. And so it just seems like there just needs to be simple procedure of when someone resigns, they resign. And then council makes a decision at the next meeting. It just needs to be put in writing.
So it's not.
Probably more than that, they resign and the council needs to. Somehow find members that mean advertising for people that are willing to.
Well, the advertising, I don't think it's a problem as much as making sure that it's official and that,
Yes.
and what comes first and second.
So the first stage, because what tripped it up last time, is the person resigned and then weeks later, changed their mind and just walked back into a meeting and sat down and continued doing it. So the first step of anything is if someone resigns, council has to accept it as being resigned. You can't be searching for replacements because what happened last time is the person changed their mind and somehow council and whatever said, oh, that's okay. And the people that we already advertised, blah, blah, blah. So it's more, first step is if someone resigns, how does that work? Second step, of course, is put a call out, which they did in that instant. And then the third step, of course, is, the council appointing. But it doesn't, if you, actually, the way you were talking about it is if, I'm trying to remember right, but if it's considered accepted immediately and at the next meeting, it has to be finalized. And it's up to council to decide.
At least 2 months. It's gotta be at least 3. I don't think you can do it.
Well, if it's accepted immediately, then you can start
Yeah.
advertising. But anyway, that's just something that needs to be brought up at workshop. It was brought up and then nothing
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And now we're back into this position of now they're trying to appoint people without resignations being finalized.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense.
And that might have been an unusual circumstance. Too.
Doesn't matter, it means it can happen again.
You're right.
We don't need that.
We got it.
Okay. So I don't know. Unless we want to write a short one-page procedure for resignation.
We already got it.
Still do
We already
that.
we already did that. Love that.
I don't know who you sent the email to, and obviously Scott's didn't get it, so.
I have it.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
Council.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that. I don't know, do you think that needs to be officially approved or something, or?
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
I mean, that's some
There's
some policy that procedures are just like.
Resignation, verbal or writing will be deemed, you should be not accepted until it be finalized. The town council to the next meeting.
Well, wait a minute, though. If you say it's not accepted, then anyone can come back in. So what it is you're saying it's accepted until council gets a chance to finalize it.
Yeah.
Because that's what we had before, because council didn't address it. All of a sudden you had people walking back into meetings that weren't in there, so it needs to be deemed accepted and then it be finalized. And it's up to council to finalize it. They could say no, but at that moment, that seat is vacant.
My name is Seinfeld, that's that quick. Come back to the meeting.
That's it.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
George got sick. He said, what are you doing to George?
Yep.
So I'm sure.
I guess I would say that you can resign, it's not really official. Until it's accepted by the town.
All right, and then you can say it's temporarily, whatever. What it is when someone resigns, they no longer consider the table until council makes a decision. Right? You don't get to resign and still do business.
No,
Well, that's what happened. You don't get to do that. You don't get to vote on stuff if you're resigned. You know, that position is vacant once you resign, but then it has to be according, and this never happened before, but according to the recent event, it was determined that council had to approve that resignation. So that never happened before, but I guess it's to cause a problem.
When you're going through on a procedural policy change, it's a little bit. We have a problem, but when you're away from that. We had 3 members, council members at a meeting. And the mayor was telling me, I did some of the business. And it was a little bit of a forum. So we got that figured out now. I think it's kind of, you gotta have 4 council members to have a meeting. Not 3 members and the mayor. I mean, a lot of these are new things for some of us.
Anyway. It's just clarifying it. A quorum's a quorum. It was not a quorum.
Yeah.
And quite unfortunately, they opened the meeting, all that kind of stuff, did business, approved things, so.
Hopefully everybody will be, somebody asked me that the other day, so we got to have.
so you want to say that someone said to resign, even though it's not been yet accepted by the council, they should be not active.
That's right, their seat is vacated. Until council officially accepts it or denies it. I don't know what you would do if someone resigned and council said, nope, you're not allowed to. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, we're just not gonna accept your resignation, but. You know, when someone resigns, it's accepted just because council's not. Just because it wasn't done at a council meeting for a council to approve it, doesn't mean you get to keep acting in that official capacity. Because that'll cause a problem too. How do you have someone who's resigned counting as the quorum? You know what I mean? You get into this weird situation, just, and then God, what happened too is you voted. You know,
Okay. All right, I'll write up some minutes.
And I'm not sure what we'll do next one. Probably something I want to do.
Carry over topics.
Very topics, yeah. Very topics.
we're doing karaoke? What?
There you go.
Carry over topics. Actually, I'm not coming to that one. If you get outside. I'll come talk about the budget, but not karaoke.
Yeah,
People
good.
embarrassed.
People lose their dignity when that happens.
That thing I said, is that scan, organize that thing?
That was a change.
Chamber.
Scan.
No, I actually think Chamber should use the events committee.
No,
They did a good job with it. We don't have an events committee, but I think.
They did well.
Let's actually say that.
Town
They
participated.
can help form one.
Town participated and Scan participated, but that was Chambers.
It's Chamber.
Now
Scan does fun events too, don't they?
They did the market downstairs. Yeah, they do some events. They'll do like pollinator, et cetera.
Everybody I talked liked it, but also everybody I talked, a lot of people I talked said, we need more of that, we need more of that. So,
Especially during a slow season.
yeah, yeah. How do you get more of that? Alex back on board.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Say you emails, Stas,
Yeah, I saw that.
with the person from Civic Plus and then the two forms you can. We'll see that be.
all right, catch you
All
guys.
right, see you. Yeah,
See all the food we had? You see all the food we had,
who we have?
from the food drive?
Oh, no, I didn't.
We're getting it.
Where?
I have some in the back and then some, stop by and
I
talk.
think done a good job. He's really,
Oh, he's detail oriented.
What?
He's detail oriented.
yeah.
Who's that?
I saw him today.
Alex.
Alex, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's like, is he in, last name?
He's in Lions.
Yeah,
He's really good at organizing stuff.
yeah, is he, oh, or something like that?
Not sure, but he's from around there.
Yeah,
He lives on the lane.
Yes, yeah, I guess they want to get something extra. Ideas, some ideas what to give them. You know.
I don't know.
We're gonna have so much this month.
The original team on this is who. When you do a food drive, they have fertilizer, you have your mobile pantry, mobile pantry. Is there any other person in the group that you're not needing?
Right,
That needs it,
yeah.
and that's always been a question.
But you're part of Blue Ridge Health, or Blue Ridge Food,
Both of the food pantries are part of the reserve.
and that's supposed to be like the overarching, like,
That's over one,
The Blue Ridge
Right.
Food Bank.
right.
yeah, and that's supposed to address what Scott's saying, right? I guess it's
Well,
kind of supposed to address that thing, where like, hey, everybody's.
people have to take the initiative.
Yeah.
And there's probably people who need it, help, but either can't take the initiative or don't know they have to take the
Right,
initiative.
still some, yeah,
Um, You know,
and there's still some, that are probably not getting it because they don't have transportation, but we deliver to about 10 and 12, well, actually more than that.
so that's where they take the initiative,
Yeah.
found out about it.
It's impressive work.
Yeah. But there's plenty of food, there's stuff, the best stuff, and it's okay. A lot of beans. Beans are good. Beans are good, yeah. That's it. Is that- There's plenty of food out there. Sorry.
You know,
Yeah.